And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there, just saw the movie Zodiac. Okay, this movie is basically about, I guess, a reenactment of the killer of the Zodiac. Not really a reenactment of him, but the investigation revolving around the hunt for him. It spans like 22 years from the first scene, because it jumps around as in real investigations. If they hit a pause, they have to wait for another crime to happen. And things just fall through the cracks. Evidence and people are proven not to be guilty or innocent because the evidence doesn't match up with them, that they fall through the cracks. So yeah, it follows the detective at the beginning for the first half, primarily, as he's doing his investigation. And then after 4 years, that trickles out because the killings have stopped. The he's committed 7 murders in like 4 years, and then the crimes just stop, that the investigation basically stops. And then the reporter, or not really the reporter, the cartoonist who works for the Chronicle, who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal, basically takes over the investigation because he is OCD about a puzzle not being completed, and he saw the Zodiac as a puzzle. He needed to know who the Zodiac was. He needed to see it for himself. So the next bit spans him putting together all the investigations, going from precinct to precinct where all the murders happened, getting all the data he could, and actually putting more together than the officers could because, well, the officers had to communicate with other precincts. He literally went to each precinct and put the pieces together himself. And they didn't have fax machines at that point in time, at least not all the precincts, only the San Francisco one did. So there was a lot of information that just didn't get passed on. They would have to send entire files, and since they couldn't fax it, they just sent the most important information. So he basically puts everything together, spends 7-8 years. He basically loses his family as he becomes obsessed with this whole thing. Yeah, and then he ends up writing a book called The Zodiac and naming the person he believed to be the real Zodiac. Yeah, and that's interesting. I've always loved Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. He's just can play that character, like basically any character, but in this one he's like the OCD guy who's just overly nice. He's an Eagle Scout, and he's just like, everyone thinks he's a retard. They call him a retard behind his back, but he's just one of those who's so smart, he's socially awkward. And it was actually heartfelt when he finally found like a girl who when he finally met one, because he was he had been divorced because his previous wife didn't see him emotional. He saw him as emotional distant, I guess. And he had a son, but he was really good with his son. And then he finds a new girl, and she just loved it immediately. It was basically the date that never ended, and she ends up leaving him during that. But I just enjoyed the movie. It was nice. A movie actually doing the bit by bit, the long durations of actually hunting for a criminal. Things trickle out, people fall through the cracks, and they just become cold cases. And it was his obsession, this cartoonist's obsession, that basically led to the whole thing. But yeah, that interesting movie, because they don't make movies like this primarily. Normally they always have it happen very quickly. The detective will find all the evidence immediately and then pin it on the person. I mean, the longest time was normally like a year, but this one spans a lot of time. Basically what it's like for real detectives in real cases, especially if it's like a serial killer case, because those people are, well, impassionate, they kill indiscriminately, and yeah, it changes the entire profile of how do you hunt for this person when they're not killing their loved ones or not killing people they're mad at. They're just doing it just because. Very interesting. I did enjoy this movie. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles!